Backstroke is a very important stroke for young children to learn. Backstroke must be taught in uncrowded conditions and a controlled environment, both from a safety aspect and from a proficient teaching aspect. Like whales, one of the great advantages that backstroke has is it's a breathe on need basis. No changes in body position or head position are required for the athlete to take a breath. The athlete may breathe on need. However, it's suggested that the athlete should breathe on one arm, in on one arm and out on the other. A high hip position, a straight arm recovery. The recovery is led by the hip, then the shoulder, then the arm. A continuous 6-beat kick and a continuous arm movement are required in learning backstroke. Side lateral kick, as in freestyle, is one of the key positions to be learned in backstroke. This promotes a high hip position, a nice steady head position, and a high out of the water shoulder position with a continuous kick. Backstroke side lateral kick with half recovery while the leading arm is sculling, maintaining a good head position, teaches that high hip-led shoulder then arm recovery position. Backstroke's arms folded kick is also a good way to promote good body position and teach good kicking skills and breathing patterns. Torpedo kick, however, it's important, and here you can see it being done the wrong way with the knees coming out of the water. It's important that the legs are pointed, toe in position, that's the toes pointing in, the ankles slightly out, knees under the water. The crossover kick is the one that I prefer. It promotes a nice high body position, hip position. The knees are under the water and the upper body is very, very stable. The shoulders are well back. Hip rotators can be the same in backstroke and freestyle. In freestyle, of course, the head is facing the line on the bottom of the pool and the hips initiate the rotation. The rotation is complete and fast. Arms folded hip rotators. This is much more difficult to initiate, and it forces the hip to move first, followed by the trunk and the upper body, and the head stays in a straight position. Backstroke hip rotators, here you can see the athlete lifting the hip, shoulder to the chin, and then continuous rotation right round to the other side. There must not be hesitation in the rotation. If you watch here, the upper body or the hips must not open and face the pool at the bottom of the pool at any stage. They must face one side of the pool, as we see here, and rotate all the way through to the other side. In freestyle, it's a high elbow, hand in the pocket position, breathing on need, and in backstroke, the hip rotators, here we can see it being done with paddles in an arms folded position, and this is a nice body position in the water. It can be done with and without fins. For mini squads, and the skills and drills to be learnt for backstroke in mini squads, the high hip and stable body position is important, so backstroke sculling drills, working on the end of the stroke skull, the high wrist, continuous kick. The disadvantage of this drill, of course, it doesn't promote trunk rotation, but it's still a very important drill to work on the finish of the stroke. The end of stroke drill is important. This is where the elbows are kept in tight to the body, and a bent arm underwater pull, especially a push down at the end of the backstroke underwater stroke, is very important. One of the common faults is to take the swimmer from a straight arm underwater pull to the bent arm underwater pull. Time must be taken, and here you see the thumb sliding first up through the water, elbows tucked into the side with an accelerated fingertip up, pressed down, high wrist position as the athlete practice bent arm underwater pull or end of stroke drill. Here we see it done with hip rotators. See the athlete working right arm, rotate, back onto the right side, end of stroke drill on the right arm, push down, rotate the hip up, and then rotate back around to that same position. A full, quick rotation from one side to the other and back again, while keeping the head nice and still. Ears on the waterline, no knees out of the water, push that hip up high. Watch the hip up high now, then the shoulder, rotate over, bring the other shoulder to the chin and back again. The rotation is done with great acceleration and from one side to the other without leaving the body face the roof of the pool at any stage. A proper backstroke start to start, pull one arm back then the other, and then work the hip rotator. Here we see the athlete working on the left arm. So you teach the right arm first, then the left arm, and you practice equally as much on both arms. You start with both arms working the end of stroke drill, and then you go to one arm, and then you can practice it on right and left. So here we see the athlete practice right arm rotate, left arm rotate. And this is continuous, making sure the athlete does not over kick. The kick should be a nice soft kick, ankles are relaxed, there's a slight knee bend on the upbeat, and the knee is straight on the downbeat. Toes just tip the surface of the water, and it's a strong, continuous kick, not going wide of the body when you're on your side. In backstroke, we're trying to learn a deep catch, straight arm recovery, and a bent arm underwater pull while maintaining good body position. Here we see a back of the hand exit from the water, touch at the top of the stroke, and enter the water little finger down, and the little finger down is initiated by the high hip position and the normal rotation of the body. It is my belief that backstroke is one of the most important strokes in developing good techniques in probably all of the other three strokes as well. The amount of flexibility and range of motion that's required for efficient backstroke, I believe, enhances the other three strokes also, as well as backstroke. A simple progression which can be learned at the introductory squad level is first a 25 metres or 20 metres, depending on the length of the pool that you're operating in, of crossover kick. That's with the elbows pushed back, hands pointing towards the lower back, but placed on the bottom or the base of the neck. Followed by 25 metres of crossover kick with rotation, keeping the head still, looking at the roof on a fixed position on the head, pushing high elbow, low elbow. The high elbow, of course, is initiating or simulating a high recovery, and the low elbow, a deep catch. Followed by 25 metres of pressure point scull, promoting that deep catch and that high elbow position, followed by number 4, 25 metres of double arm, backstroke finish. That's with the elbows tucked into the sides and learning that bent arm underwater backstroke pull, deep push down at the back of the stroke, and that skull on an accelerated skull moving up to the thumbs touching the side of the legs. Followed by right arm, left arm skull and rotate. This is where the right arm will push back and rotate the left hip and shoulder up, and then the left arm will rotate, pushing the right arm and right hip or right shoulder up, but always lead hip first. The 25 metres exchange arm recovery promotes that high recovery, concentrating on rotating the hip before the shoulders. Coming out of the water, thumb first or back of the arm first, no underwater pull, and concentrating on slowly, initially, at the start of the 25, to maximum speed through the recovery at the end of the 25, and maximum trunk rotation. 25 metres of normal backstroke for number 7, concentrating on that high recovery, deep catch, bent arm underwater push, deep skull at the back of the stroke, and fast recovery. No hesitation at the front or the back of the stroke. 25 metres of normal backstroke. Number 8 is a review of the previous 7 25s and repeat the area needing the most amount of attention or improvement out of the previous 7 25s. The crossover kick, I think, is the best kicking position for backstroke. Promotes a much better body position, keeps the knees under the water. Then a crossover or arms folded position with a high hip position rotating from one side to the other. Then the pressure point scull. This is with a high elbow and teaches the deep catch. Make sure that the opposite shoulder is on the chin. The double arm end of stroke drill promotes and teaches the bent arm underwater pull and the huge press down and upward skull at the bottom of the stroke, and can be taught with young children. Then the child learns right arm, left arm scull. Here we see them practicing right arm, left arm, continuous kick. Then the exchange arm recovery drill, promoting that high hip position, nice steady body position and continuous rotation of the hips. Ideally learnt with fins and then without fins, and then finished off with 25 metres of normal backstroke. Make sure there's no hesitation at the front or the back of the stroke, that the hand exits the moment it hits the hips.